Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that, well, it touches everyone, whether we realize it fully or not: stress.
Hmm.
We're pulling insights from a really helpful source, a book called Eight Keys to Stress Management by Elizabeth Ann Scott.
That's right. And our mission here for this deep dive is to really unpack what this source lays out. The core ideas about what stress is, where it tends to come from.
And the practical stuff, too.
Exactly. The strategies it offers to, manage its impact. We want to help you function from, let's say, a more centered place.
Because stress isn't just a vague feeling, is it? It actually changes how we function day to day.
For sure.
It's that, underlying current that might make you snap when you normally wouldn't, or lead to silly mistakes.
Or maybe reach for unhealthy food.
Yeah, that too. And the source makes this really powerful point early on. While the stressors, the actual situations, are definitely real,
Though they're real.
how we evaluate those situations, that's fundamentally key.
It's like how you look at the challenge is often just as important as the challenge itself. The book defines stress pretty simply, actually. It's just feeling the effects of those stressors.
And that triggers a response, right? Something that changes our usual patterns.
Exactly. Your normal way of being gets altered.
So, okay, stressors themselves are defined as any situation that requires a response, adjustment, or change. That sounds incredibly broad.
It is broad,
Uh,
but the book clarifies it. The situations we find most stressful, those are the ones we look at and think, I don't have the resources for this.
Okay, so it's that perception of lacking what's needed.
It's that feeling, yeah. The demand feels bigger than your capacity,
Yeah.
even if, that capacity is just what you perceive it to be.
And stress, it doesn't just hit and leave, does it? The source says it can build on itself.
Oh, absolutely. It can create this kind of downward spiral.
A self-perpetuating cycle.
Exactly that. Which is why becoming aware of where your stress is actually coming from is so important,
Yeah.
especially if you're dealing with those constant high levels.
Right. And the source highlights some common areas, like job stress.
A huge one for many people.
Hmm.
The book really points out how much work impacts our overall well-being, how it can fuel burnout, anxiety, even depression.
Definitely. And it breaks down specific things within work, like unclear requirements.
Yeah, you know that feeling. When you're not quite sure what's expected or if you've done enough, it leaves you feeling pretty insecure.
I can see that,
Yeah.
especially like during company changes or downsizing.
For sure. When roles shift, the book suggests a pretty direct approach here. Talk to the people in charge, get clarification, preferably, get it in writing if you can.
And if you're self-employed,
Same idea, just with clients. Get crystal clear on those expectations up front.
okay, then there are unrealistic demands.
Yeah, just feeling swamped, like the work is draining, and you kind of know deep down it's just unattainable.
So what do you do then?
Well, interestingly, the book says just recognizing that the demands are unrealistic can be a relief in itself.
Huh. Like permission to stop beating yourself up?
Sort of.
Mhm.
It suggests looking at it objectively. Maybe talk to your boss. Or if you're freelancing, you might need to adjust your own expectations or the project scope. Communication, setting boundaries, really critical here. Trying to achieve the impossible is just, well, it's disheartening.
Makes sense. And then low recognition.
Yeah, and this isn't just about money, though that's often part of it.
Right. It's feeling like your work doesn't matter, or you're not respected, passed over for things, maybe feeling belittled.
Taken advantage of.
Hmm.
That feeling of being valued is just incredibly important for our sense of security, our contribution.
So any tips from the source on that one?
It offers a perspective shift. Try to find a deeper meaning in what you do. How does your job, even the annoying parts, benefit others? Connected to a larger purpose. It might not change the situation overnight, but it can change how you feel about it.
That's interesting. Okay, last one for job stress. High penalties for mistakes.
Yeah, you immediately think of like medicine or pilots, right?
Right.
Where mistakes are critical. But it also applies in companies or with managers who just have zero tolerance for error.
Oh,
For freelancers, maybe losing a big client over one slip-up.
the pressure's definitely higher then.
No doubt. Okay, so moving beyond the workplace, the source talks a lot about relationship stress.
And specifically toxic relationships, the ones filled with constant criticism, maybe gossip, unrealistic demands on you, contempt.
Yeah, that stuff is incredibly stressful. It leads to just endlessly thinking about it, rumination, low self-esteem, constant conflict.
And the source says these often hit harder than other stressors. Why is that?
It links it back to something really fundamental. Our basic human need for connection and safety. When that safety feels threatened within our closest relationships, our stress response goes haywire because it's tapping into this really deep primal need for belonging.
Wow, okay. That really puts it in perspective. Our survival literally used to depend on the group.
Exactly. And then on a more day-to-day level, there's weekly schedule stress.
Oh, yeah. Just being overcommitted, filling every single minute until you're just running on fumes.
Who hasn't been there? The book says we need to get really honest and aware of this pace. A practical tip it gives is to actually see where your time is going.
Like, track it.
Yeah. Use a calendar, schedule everything work, commute, chores, even downtime. Seeing it visually can help you spot, wasted time or activities that aren't really moving you towards your goals, makes it easier to cut back.
Okay, so we've covered some common external sources, but here's where, for me, it got really interesting. The source shifts to the role of your mind, your perception.
Yes, this is crucial. It emphasizes how our internal world, how we think and feel, is pivotal in deciding which stressors actually get to us
Yeah.
and how badly.
So the same situation.
Can affect two people completely differently.
Yeah. And this depends on lots of things. Personality traits we're born with, our past experiences, the resources we have available, and critically, our habitual ways of thinking.
And the book explores this through the lens of optimism and pessimism, right? Explanatory style. Exactly. It's basically the stories we tell ourselves about why things happen. So optimists, when something good happens, they tend to credit themselves, see it as proof more good things will come, and think the positive effects will last.
And negative events.
They see those as temporary setbacks, isolated incidents, caused by outside factors, not some permanent flaw in themselves.
Okay. And pessimists.
They tend to do the reverse. Good things, oh, that was just luck. Or someone else did it, it won't last, it's a one-off.
And bad things.
That's going to last forever. It proves everything is bad, and it's probably my fault.
You can really see how that impacts stress levels.
Hugely. The optimist style builds this belief in their own ability to cope, which naturally reduces stress. The pessimist style can make you feel like you have fewer options, less control, and that ramps up the stress.
The source also talks about specific mental traps, cognitive distortions.
Yeah, these are like automatic, unhelpful thinking habits our brains fall into. Sometimes, the book notes, they kind of protect our ego in the moment, but long-term. Major stress creators.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like disqualifying the positive. You get a compliment, and you just brush it off. Oh, they were just being nice. Or jumping to conclusions, your boss seems preoccupied, and you immediately assume they're angry with you, with no evidence.
Or magnification and minimization.
Right. Making a mountain out of a molehill, or completely downplaying something genuinely important. Just becoming aware that you're doing these things is the first step to loosening their grip and cutting down the stress they cause.
And closely related is rumination, that constant replaying of negative stuff.
Yes, just obsessing over problems without actually finding solutions. The book makes a good distinction. There's helpful reflection, and then there's brooding. Rumination is the brooding part.
And it just makes things worse.
Pretty much. It cranks up stress, sours your mood, makes you less likely to actually do anything constructive, can lead to self-sabotage, and it even has physical links, like to higher blood pressure. Getting stuck in that loop is just exhausting.
Okay, so when stress does hit, your body reacts, maybe your heart pounds like Jonathan stuck in traffic. The source offers some quick strategies, ways to reverse that physical response.
Yeah, these are tools for the moment. To calm your body and mind down quickly. Deep breathing is a really fundamental one.
How does that work, basically?
It's about focusing on breathing from your belly, not shallow chest breathing. Keep your shoulders relaxed. You can use counting to help regulate the pace, like inhale slowly for 5 counts, exhale slowly for maybe 8 counts.
And it works fast.
The beauty is, yeah, it can work within minutes. Plus, it helps create this sort of muscle memory for relaxation. Makes it easier to get back to that calm state next time.
Progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR, is another one mentioned.
Yep. That involves tensing specific muscle groups like your hands, then your arms, shoulders, etc. Holding it for a few seconds, and then consciously releasing the tension.
What's the point of the tensing?
It actually helps you become more aware of where you're holding tension you might not even notice. And then the release feels more profound. With practice, you get better at just releasing tension without the tensing part.
Okay. What about self-hypnosis? Sounds a bit out there.
Maybe a little, but the source presents it as a way to tap into your subconscious mind with suggestions for relaxation. Kind of like guided visualization, but maybe a bit deeper for some people. Lots of guided recordings and resources available for that.
Can provide quick calm then.
It can, even in short bursts.
And mini meditation, is that just shorter meditation?
Pretty much. Just taking a brief moment, maybe even just a minute or two for focused breathing or just noticing your surroundings without judgment. While longer sessions build resilience, the source says even these mini breaks can interrupt the stress cycle, especially once you get used to doing them.
Autogenic training sounds more involved.
It is, a bit. It's about training your mind to create physical sensations of relaxation, like warmth or heaviness in your limbs. It's definitely a learned skill, as the book notes, often best learned with a professional. Takes more initial practice than, say, deep breathing.
So for you listening, the idea is to experiment, right?
Exactly. Find one or two techniques that click with you, something that fits your personality and your needs. Maybe try a different one each day for a week, or really commit to one for a week and see how it feels.
Build your own little stress-busting toolkit.
Precisely. Now, looking beyond those quick fixes, the source really hammers home that long-term stress management means taking care of your body. It talks about that downward stress spiral again.
Right, where being stressed makes you neglect self-care, bad food, less sleep, no exercise.
Which then makes you more stressed, making it even harder to do the healthy things.
Vicious cycle. So, diet first. How does stress mess with that?
Well, stress hormones like cortisol can actually trigger cravings, often for sugary or fatty foods. Plus, there's emotional eating, using food for comfort instead of dealing with the feeling.
So management strategies?
Pretty practical stuff. Stock your kitchen with healthy options so they're easy to grab. Know where you can find healthier choices when you eat out. Become aware of your specific triggers for unhealthy eating. Maybe try starting a habit that's incompatible, like going for a walk when you feel stressed instead of reaching for cookies. And get support, friends, family.
Makes sense. Exercise is next. The book calls it a fantastic stress reliever.
Oh, it really is. So many benefits. Physically, it lowers stress hormones, releases muscle tension. Mentally, it boosts confidence, clears your head.
And long term, not exercising makes you more vulnerable.
Definitely. It increases stress vulnerability over time. The tips are pretty standard, but important. Start slow. Find something you actually enjoy, walking, swimming, dancing, whatever. Maybe join a gym if you need structure. And always check with your doctor before starting something new.
And sleep. Foundational, right?
Absolutely vital. Lack of sleep just tanks your cognitive function, slows your reflexes, makes you way more emotionally reactive.
And feeds the stress cycle directly.
Totally.
What are some of those sleep saboteurs the book mentions?
Oh, busy schedules are a huge one. We tend to sacrifice sleep first,
Guilty.
right? Outside influences, social plans, family needs, stress itself obviously makes it hard to sleep. And then our own habits. Caffeine too late, screen time right before bed, even exercising too close to bedtime for some people. Oh, and underlying health issues can interfere too, so seeing a doctor if it's persistent is key.
So managing sleep involves planning, scheduling it like an appointment.
Pretty much. Prioritizing it, maybe cutting back on other things if you have to, and being mindful about avoiding those saboteurs, caffeine, screens, heavy meals in the hours leading up to bed.
Okay, so getting the physical basics handled provides a buffer, but the source also talks about actively reducing stressors and not just the big ones.
Right. This was interesting. It makes the point that we often focus on the major life crises, but we overlook the cumulative toll of small, everyday annoyances.
This is where tolerations come in. I found that term really insightful.
Me too. It's those little things you just put up with. That messy desk you navigate every day, the friend who always drains your energy, the small commitments you dread but keep saying yes to.
They don't seem like a big deal individually.
Exactly. But the book argues they take a constant, low-level toll. They consume energy little by little. Cutting down on them is important because they eat into your margin.
Your buffer zone.
Yeah, that extra mental and emotional space you need for when unexpected, bigger things hit. Reducing tolerations helps you operate from a less stressed baseline overall. Improves your mood, your behavior, your relationships.
So how do we tackle them? Learning to say no is a big one.
Huge. Giving yourself permission to decline is crucial for managing overcommitment and those tolerations you've just been enduring.
Any tips on how to say no? It can feel awkward.
The book suggests, first, know internally that you want to say no. Then, practice just doing it directly. You often don't need a long, elaborate excuse, especially if someone's being pushy. And work on letting go of the guilt. Remind yourself what you're saying yes to by saying no. Usually, it's your own well-being or other important priorities.
Okay. What else? Engaging in stress management during the day, like at lunch.
Yeah, even a tiny ritual, a 5-minute walk outside, a few deep breaths at your desk, mindfully drinking a cup of tea. Something small to break the cycle of low-grade stressors, especially at work.
Maintaining an orderly environment, tidying the desk.
Yep, another way to reduce those physical tolerations that subtly drain you. Asking for what you need is another one.
Being direct.
Yeah, clear and upfront. At work, in relationships, people often want to help or accommodate you, but they can't read your mind. You have to articulate your needs.
Yeah.
And finally, being proactive.
Addressing issues before they blow up.
Exactly. It might feel like more effort initially, but it saves so much stress and energy down the line compared to dealing with a full-blown crisis.
Okay, shifting slightly but related. Cultivating healthy relationships. The source really emphasizes this.
Massively. The benefits are huge stress relief, better physical health, maybe even living longer. It's the flip side of how damaging toxic relationships can be.
So, developing relationship skills is actually a form of stress management.
Absolutely. And the book focuses on changing our part in the dynamic, our own behavior.
Like setting boundaries.
Key skill, deciding how close people get,
Right.
what behavior is okay, what's not, and communicating that respectfully. It means first knowing where your boundaries lie, then communicating them clearly and firmly, and this is important, being prepared to back yourself up if they're tested.
Communication skills too, like using iMessages.
Yeah, that classic technique, instead of "you always make me feel," which sounds like an attack.
Puts people on the defensive.
Right. When you do this specific thing, I feel this emotion, it expresses your experience without blaming, which opens up space for understanding.
Cultivating empathy is also mentioned.
Actively trying to understand where the other person is coming from, what they might be feeling. The book notes this can help you let go of anger, make sense of confusing actions, even find forgiveness sometimes.
How do you do that?
Tips include really listening without interrupting, trying to remember times you felt something similar, making an effort to appreciate the person overall, maybe trying practices like loving-kindness meditation.
The source is also pretty realistic about relationships that maybe can't be fixed. Sometimes you need to cut ties.
It acknowledges that, yes. Sometimes letting go is the healthiest option, even if there's still love or history there.
When is that point reached?
The book suggests factors like, does the relationship consistently bring more negativity than positivity? Have you tried to find solutions and nothing works? Is there abuse involved? It specifically mentions that relationships with people showing strong narcissistic or sociopathic traits are often best ended for your own safety and sanity.
And it suggests ways to end things.
Yeah, ideally aiming for minimal drama. Maybe a respectful conversation explaining your needs aren't being met. Sometimes, if that's not safe or possible, it might mean creating distance gradually, becoming too busy, or clearly stating the changes required and stepping back if they don't happen. It's about protecting your peace.
And on the positive side, actively enhancing social support.
Crucial. Making an effort to meet new people, maybe join groups related to your interests, and nurturing the good relationships you already have, scheduling regular time for friends, family, partners. Game nights, coffee dates, whatever works. Build that network.
Okay, finally, the source brings in positive psychology and talks about putting long-term habits into action.
Yeah, positive psychology folks like Martin Seligman looked at what makes people resilient, what makes life feel worth living, shifting focus from just fixing problems to actively building well-being.
So it's more than just think positive.
Oh, much more. It involves specific techniques, yes, but also actively shaping your lifestyle to include things that generate positive feelings and build that resilience muscle. The book talks about two types of positive activities, pleasures and gratifications.
Okay, tell us about pleasures.
These are the simple things that bring quick, easy, positive feelings. Enjoying a good meal, listening to music you love, a warm bath, petting your dog.
The small joys.
Exactly. The book suggests making a list of your pleasures, sprinkle them throughout your day and week, rotate them to keep them fresh. Variety is key here. Swap ideas with friends, plan for them, especially when you know you'll be tired, and maybe turn some into rituals.
Why rituals?
Because the positive feeling from rituals tends to diminish less over time compared to other pleasures.
Interesting. Okay, and gratifications.
These are different. They involve using your skills and talents, activities that engage you more deeply. They often bring eustress, that positive, challenging stress, and can lead to flow. Yeah, that state where you're totally absorbed, you lose track of time, you feel energized and focused. Think hobbies like playing an instrument, gardening, learning something new, coding, crafting. even really engaging aspects of your work.
And the benefits increase with repetition.
Yes, unlike pleasures which can fade, gratifications often become more rewarding the more you do them. They often tie into your sense of identity, who you are.
Gratitude is another big one mentioned.
Huge. The source highlights tons of research showing that cultivating gratitude improves mood, boosts resilience, increases life satisfaction, strengthens relationships, helps sleep, even benefits physical health.
How do you cultivate it?
Simple practices. Keeping a gratitude journal, maybe jotting down 3 things you're grateful for each day, why and how it felt. Or writing a gratitude letter to someone who's made a positive difference in your life, even if you don't send it.
The book is pretty upfront, though, that knowing all this is easier than doing it right. Change is hard.
So true. Understanding is one thing, practice is another. Our brains naturally resist change at first. Building new habits means carving out new neural pathways through repetition. It's like learning to drive awkward at first, then it becomes automatic.
And falling off track is normal.
Totally normal. The book emphasizes that backsliding isn't failure. It's part of the process. The key is not to give up completely. Just get back to it.
And it makes this really encouraging point that healthy habits feed off each other.
That's such a powerful concept.
Mhm.
Start one positive change, maybe exercise, and it can reduce the stress that was blocking you from eating better or sleeping more. It can create an upward spiral. Small changes really do build momentum and make a big difference over time.
So putting it into practice starts with, like, an action plan.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Select maybe 1 or 2 habits that resonate with you, feel achievable right now. Break big goals down into tiny, manageable baby steps. Pick a start date. Prepare your environment if needed.
And what about tools to overcome that inertia, that resistance to change?
The source suggests a few things. One is announcing your goals. Tell someone, a friend, family member. It makes it feel more real, increases your investment. Plus, you get potential support and maybe a little positive pressure because you don't want to have to say you didn't do it.
Hiring a coach is another option.
Yep. A coach can help you identify roadblocks, stay motivated, find the right strategy specifically for you, and just be an ally in making changes.
And finally, finding a therapist.
Crucial for the diaper stuff. If stress is rooted in significant family issues, past trauma, really ingrained negative thinking, self-sabotage patterns, or things like clinical anxiety or depression, a therapist provides the space and expertise to work through issues that are often too complex or painful to tackle alone. And they can work alongside coaching or self-help resources too.
Okay, so bringing this deep dive to a close, it's clear stress management isn't just one thing. It's this whole multifaceted journey. It starts with understanding stress itself, how you react, then having those quick techniques to use in the moment, building that strong physical foundation, diet, exercise, sleep, actively reducing those daily annoyances, the tolerations.
Nurturing healthy relationships so important, and knowing when to distance from toxic ones.
Right. And then incorporating those positive psychology practices, seeking out pleasures, engaging in gratifications, cultivating gratitude, and finally, building those long-term habits for resilience, remembering that changes build on each other.
And that perseverance is key, even with setbacks.
Exactly. So, a final thought for you to mull over from this deep dive. The source really underscores how toxic relationships ramp up stress, largely because they hit our fundamental need for safety and connection right where it hurts. So given that deep, deep drive to belong, how do you figure out where the line is? The line between working on a difficult relationship, maybe changing your own part in it, and recognizing when the chronic stress it causes is just too high a price. Even if the idea of losing that connection feels scary, like a threat to your safety, when does the stress of staying become greater than the stress of leaving? How do you navigate that incredibly complex personal decision while still honoring that fundamental need for connection?